Okay, our next area of symptoms is going to be in sleep and vasomotor symptoms. If you're having disrupted sleep, and oftentimes you're probably waking up anywhere between 8 and 10 and 15 times a night without even realizing you're waking up, because you're not waking up quite enough, but it's just enough to interrupt that sleep and interrupt a good sleep cycle. But often you're waking up enough to know it. And a lot of times that's when that anxiety creeps in and keeps you awake longer. So you might be having trouble actually going to sleep, or you're having early waking. You'll wake up at, say, 2 a.m. and stay awake till 4 a.m. That interrupted sleep like that, and also it can also encourage anxiety about not sleeping. You'd be like, okay, it's 3 a.m. and my alarm goes off at 6 and I have a busy, heavy day tomorrow. It's real easy to get into an anxious thought spiral right then about that. And that'll keep you even awake even longer. And it's also possible that you're experiencing night sweats. This is part of the vasomotor symptoms, or VMS. You'll wake up with a pool of sweat in your neck and your collarbone, and perhaps your cleavage, or you're drenched through your pajamas, or you have to change your sheets, or tell your husband to scoot over, spend a little time cuddling, or you're kicking the covers off, and then suddenly you're cold and you're pulling back on. So the corollary to the hot flash and the night sweat is the cold flash. A lot of women that experience hot flashes don't realize that cold flashes are kind of part of that. And what's going on is the hypothalamus, which is basically your body's thermostat, controls this. And whereas before your tolerance to temperature used to be better when you had adequate estrogen. But as your estrogen declines, these tolerance bars kind of come in here. So even if your temperature is normal, it's within your normal range, your body is saying, oh no, we're too hot or we're too cold. So we need to sweat and get rid of all of this core temperature heat, even though there's nothing new there. And then suddenly, oh no, we've gotten rid of too much, and now our core temperature is too low. So then you're freezing and you start shivering to warm yourself back up again. So nothing has changed in the actual temperature. It's just that your tolerance is diminished. And that's a vasomotor symptom. Along with that, the hot flashes and the night sweats and then the cold flashes is something called electric shocks. Okay, so if you've been in traffic and someone cuts you off and you almost hit them and you slam on the brakes, then you feel that adrenaline rush, just kind of pools in your belly, and then it spreads through your arms. You know that feeling, that warm, scared feeling, and then you start shaking everywhere. When I have experienced electric shocks, it feels kind of like that. I feel tingling in my fingers. Other people have described it like a rubber band snapping on your wrist. It's weird, and it's so strange, so different from anything you've experienced. And it's probably different from anything you've heard about, but it is part of the vasomotor symptoms of perimenopause, and is caused by this estrogen flux. I put that with sleep, with insomnia and early waking and disrupted sleep, is because they tend to cause those things, and also they can be related to them. My theory is that if you can get your sleep under control, you're going to go a long way in controlling and mitigating some of these symptoms, including the vasomotor symptoms. So even if you don't know that you're having disrupted sleep, but you're having hot flashes, you might be able to put those things together. That's why we track our sleep. Okay, so in addition to the vasomotor symptoms, there is also a real temperature tolerance change. Women in this stage of life have a harder time regulating their temperature, especially in heat. You may have noticed that it's harder for you to exercise in the heat than it used to be. And this is why. You probably also notice that you are more easily winded during exercise, and maybe you have a diminished cardio capacity. And a lot of that has to do with perhaps a change in your mineral balance in your blood. So that's why part of why it's so important to get a full checkup every year, including not just your hormone levels, but your iron, your ferritin, your zinc, all of the minerals. You need to get those checked as well. Additionally, it's important to make sure that you're drinking enough water, but also paying attention to the electrolyte balance aspect of hydration. It is possible to drink too much water and dilute your electrolytes, which can lead to other problems.